Ladies and gentlemen, if many of you heard this, yesterday the NBA found has uncovered some findings of the Dallas Mavericks workplace misconduct, and the fact that this happened like 20 years ago. That is, there were like 15 female employees for the Dallas Mavericks. These were like Dallas Mavericks employees, that is, who were indeed like victims of sexual harassment, assault, and molestation, and all this stuff. Now, yesterday, Mark Cuban was on the jump with Rachel Nichols, now Mark Cuban, who's the Mavericks team owner, he's intending to pay 10 mil to the women's organizations out there, and the fact that Mark Cuban wasn't necessarily aware of this incident that happened since like 98, that is, and unfortunately, now if you guys remember, that is that Adam Silver, he did say that the findings of the workplace misconduct in the Dallas Mavericks employees were absolutely disturbing and downright heartbreaking. I would find these completely just disgusted and heinous, whatever you call it, though. Now, what's said here is that there were allegations of harassment and domestic sexual violence and harassment towards like 15 female employees in the Mavs organization. Now there's been a corporate cultural ritual misogyny, that is, and predatory sexual conduct that's been found for decades, though, in the Mavs organization, including allegations against former CEO and president by name of Terdema Ussery, who was accused of molesting women, groping them, that is, touching them inappropriately, and going into, forcibly smothering them, immature comments, inappropriate comments that were made. And he was released and fired back in 2015 for this. Now there have been some outside law. Now the NBA, they have uncovered some outside law firms that investigators were looking at 215 current and former employees at the Mavs and examined more than 1.6 million documents, emails, and text messages under the improper workplace misconduct towards 15 female employees. Now, this did involve immature comments, touching, and forcible smooches. There was improper workplace misconduct by former ticket sales employee by the name of Chris Hyde, including immature comments to women of sexual nature and viewing and sharing pornographic photos and videos that were extremely prohibited. Now, team's executive leadership not only allowed improper workplace environment to exist, but quite frankly, the belief of those who were taking know that nature diminish. Now, Cynthia Marshall, that is, who happens to be the new CEO and president of the Dallas Mavericks, that is, she wants to do so to affect change. She's doing this to affect change. She's got a background check. She's been checked out. She wants to change the entire industry. Now, you did see her on the jump along with Mark Cuban and Rachel Nichols yesterday, and you can see this on ESPN for the full interview. You can see it on ESPN's YouTube channel if you want, that is. But there is a zero tolerance spot between this. Mark Cuban was not aware of these allegations. Now, Mark Cuban is one of the wealthiest billionaires of the Mavericks and Mavericks owners. Shark Tank, you've seen him on, but he did agree to pay 10 mil to the women's organizations out there, or donate like 10 mil to the women's organizations out there that have been going through this for sure. Now, there have been more plus that emerged that there were superiors to responsive to complaints, and the fact that Earl Sneed, who was the team reporter and the team reporter that is, he was accused of domestic assault or domestic abuse that is, working for the Mets, despite the fact that he allegedly assaulted his own like girlfriend that is, and I don't know the names of the girl. I don't know the name of the girlfriend is. Who knows? I don't know the name of the 15 female employees who felt a bit uncomfortable, who obviously weren't necessarily feeling unsafe, and some women think it's an unsafe working environment, and the fact that Snead was fired back. Snead was fired in February for sure. And Mark Cuban told ESPN that he was responsible for keeping Snead on the staff after knowing about this incident. Reported to Pittman, that is, and the fact that Human Resources VP and Chief Diversity Officer of AT&T, Cynthia Marshall, she was disturbed. Now, Cynthia Marshall, who's the new CEO, who was the former VP and executive and chief executive diversity officer of AT&T, she was disturbed by this incident that happened like a decade ago. That is, and the fact that there were findings that there were management was completely ineffective, that there was inappropriate behavior nor conduct, numerous instances of improper workplace conduct of more than 20 years ago, lack of compliance, the no evidence of Mark Cuban, that he was not certainly aware of this. Now Mark Cuban, they're going to be maximum fine from the NBA office can levy is 2.5 mil. Now look, folks, this is a zero tolerance policy. Domestic abuse, no domestic assault, sexual harassment is a zero tolerance policy. You see, Mark Cuban should have told his lawyers, he should have told his boss this. He should have told, his associates. He could have notified the cops about this for sure, Dallas PD about these incidents. And the fact that, look, Mark Cuban, this could get him in a lot of trouble. He could have been the fact that he did not know where this. Now, Mark Cuban on the jump yesterday, Richard Nichols, he did apologize to those women that were affected by this, women that were their families, their family members, their colleagues, even the ones that are affected by this issue. Some of these employees can't necessarily they were empowered though, but they just can't contain them. They cannot contain themselves, folks. And these 15 female employees, and I don't know the names by the way, these 15 female employees that have been affected by this, you can't find this. You can't find this anywhere else. You can't figure out how this all went down. Now, Mark Cuban could look these employees. Could look these 15 female employees who were assaulted, who were molested, who were feeling uncomfortable. These were Dallas Mavericks employees, by the way. These are female employees that were completely feeling uncomfortable, despite the fact that there were accusations of a former CEO and president, Ussery, that is, and Earl Sneed, who was accused of domestic assault on his girlfriend, that is, and they had him arrested a couple years ago. So, quite frankly, there needs to be a background check. Mark Cuban, he could have been given a fine. He could have paid the fine of 2.5 bill. He could have been suspended for 6 months. And Mark Cuban didn't know anything about this. What is this gonna do to you? Mark Cuban, you could have these 15 female employees, you could at least tell these employees or have these 15 female employees come directly to you. You gotta be a man, for goodness sakes. And they gotta tell you, and you gotta apologize to them for this incident like 20 years ago. And you gotta at least take a responsibility for yourself. You gotta take full responsibility for the team, for your franchise, ownership. You need to take full responsibility. Yeah, more importantly, you gotta take full responsibility for these employees of the Dallas Mavericks. You gotta take full responsibility of that. Now, the fact that you didn't know anything about this, the fact that you weren't aware of this, the fact that you did not report this, this has got you a lot of trouble. You could have been done for. You could, like, I don't want to say this though, you could have been released. You could lose a lot of revenue. You could lose ownership. You could lose all these things. I mean, the fact that Urban Meyer he was on administrative leave, and the fact that he got 3-game suspension, for sure now that he's off suspension, I can tell you this right now, that Mark Cuban, you could have been done for. Your legacy, your ownership could have been down the drain right there. Your career could have been, you would have been out. You would have been suspended for 6 months. You could have been released. But the fact that you didn't know anything about this work misconduct, and you didn't have the guts to actually do anything about it, you could have notified the police about this. You could have done that. But you didn't adapt. But you weren't aware of this. What is this going to do to your career? What is it going to do to your legacy? You have been Mavericks owner since 2000. You have. Look, Mark Cuban is a modest man, wealthiest billionaires in history. But despite the fact that this report was released, these findings were released yesterday, this is a bad image for the Dallas Mavericks. I mean, the team, I think a few years ago, they were talking about it during like media days, and the fact that they were pretty long notes, and some of those other female employees that were in the Dallas Mavericks were quite aware of this. They feel unsafe, and what needs to be done here, folks, there needs to be security checks, there needs to be background checks, there needs to be, all sorts of stuff. So you gotta figure out, so you gotta wonder, what if Mark Cuban gets released? What if Mark Cuban loses ownership? What if he loses a whole lot of guap in his grasp? What if he loses money in his hands? And I can tell you this right now, that I don't know the names of these 15 female individuals. Now you can check out the Sports Illustrated report though, that is about the Dallas Mavericks workplace misconduct, and it does seem obvious that his ownership career of the Mavericks could be over. So it's just absolutely just downright disturbing, and it's just uncalled for. So that's all there is to it, though. So that's good. So, ladies and gents, make sure to subscribe to the Khalil the High Level Sports War YouTube channel, Facebook page. Send me your comments, your tweets, your reactions, your thoughts about yesterday's report of the Dallas Mavericks, of the NBA, having some findings of the Dallas Mavericks workplace misconduct by the Dallas Mavericks employees. Let me know in the comments section what you think. Let me know if you think that Mark Cuban should be suspended nor pay a fine. Let me know in the comment section down below. Send me your replies and your tweets and reactions down below about the support, and let me know what you think of this. So I'll be in for that, but I'll be back with more live updates, groundbreaking announcements, trending topics, and more marquee matchups for sure, all pertaining to the sports world. And I'll keep you all tuned as soon as possible about this. So that's going to do it right there. So take care, you guys. You guys have a good day. Bye-bye.